Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another video. So today I am bringing you my 2020 major events ranked from worst to best. Now, I'm going to be honest, this list is super hard. I think I'm still not very confident on my mini event list. The main reason why I'm not so confident on that mini event list is, to be honest, I probably would switch Pride 2020 with Holidays and Future Past. I'd probably swap those two around. I think then I'd be comfortable, happy with it. I don't know, I think I was a bit too harsh on the fact that we had costumes in Pride 2020. But yeah, that's, I guess, a little correction there. I probably would swap those two around after thinking about it. So I had the same issue with this. So what I decided to do is I decided to do something a little bit different. So as you can see here, this is the example of what I've done. So I've taken 4 categories, and that being structure, theme, questline is 1, characters is 2, buildings is 3, and decorations is 4. And I've given them each a point. So if it's, the best, if it has the best structure and theme, so as you can see here, Treehouse of Horror, in my opinion, has the best structure, theme, and questline. So that gets 6 points. And Simpsons Wrestling, I think, has the second best structure, theme, and questline, so that gets 5 points. And I've done this for each of the 4 categories. I've added up the points, and that's how I'm ranking them. Now, the main reason why I'm doing that instead of just sort of on my opinions or just looking through and just kind of trying to decide is, honestly, I keep changing it, and I feel pretty confident with the list that I've got now. I think this is probably my final opinions. I don't think I'm going to be budged because, honestly, I've gone through it. I've been going through it for the past hour. I've really thought about every single item and that we've got and every single the way that the events are structured and themed and all that. And I think I'm pretty confident, yeah. So let's start off with the worst of the events of the year, that being Game of Games, the sequel. Okay, so actually, what's quite funny about this is this got 11 points in total, and the event that is number 5, or the next event, basically the next worst event, or the next best event, whatever, the one that you'll see after I talk about Game of Games, that one actually drew with Game of Games, the sequel. So I had to make the decision to break the tie, and my gut was obviously telling me Game of Games, the sequel. I really hated this update, and to be honest, with the update that's above it, I still think, yeah, this is probably the worst. Now, this update does have good things in it, and I think the one good thing it has about this, that has going for it, is characters, for a starter. Now, that being said, although the characters are great, they're all premium, so I did take that into account. I gave them, I ranked it, fairly high for characters, but I did swap it round with another one. One I maybe prefer the characters of, the one I swapped it round with in terms of the character ranking. I actually preferred the characters in Game of Games to the one I swapped it round with, but I had to take into consideration that Game of Games' characters were all premium. We also got some costumes too. The Game Master is pretty bad, well, very bad. Pirate Nelson is kind of bad. Cleric March is a good costume, and Lady Mailhouse is kind of meh, in my opinion. So yeah, this one does have great buildings though, I will give it that. I think the buildings in this update are, for the most part, very solid. I think Captain Blip's Zapateria is decent. Bart's Moon Mansion is okay, it's fine. Toys R Us, I'm a little sick of getting Toys R Us parodies, I'm not gonna lie. Broken Dream Storage Lockers, I like that one a lot. Springfield Multicultural Centre, I love that one. And Palm Springfield Resorts is also a very nice building. So I think this one actually got very high for buildings, and I think that's why it drew with the update that's coming next. And then decorations, I think, kind of crappy for the most part. As you can see, have a look at them there. But I think, yeah, that it wasn't great decorations, but yeah. There's a few I like I like the Lee Carvillo standee, and I do like the Frincatic 7 as well. So yeah, that is it in terms of Game of Games the sequel. I think the structure was all over the place. The theme, I'm not a massive fan of. I think the whole update really was a bitter taste. So yeah, I'm pretty confident putting this one as the worst. So let's move on to the next update. Simpsons Wrestling. So the reason why I'm putting Simpsons Wrestling here, and I actually was originally, when I did this list, this is the original place I had it, and then I put Simpsons Wrestling as like number 3. And then I did the whole list thing, and this is where it ended up. So like I said, it did rank pretty much the same as Game of Games the sequel, but I don't think it is as bad as that update. Now, the main reason why is I just think this update is well structured. That is true. It is a very well structured, very well themed event, and I gotta give it props for that. That is a a good thing. It's good when an update is well structured and themed. But that being said, everything in the update is kind of garbage. I think the characters, this update had the worst characters of the year in my opinion. The buildings, it had some of the worst buildings. There is good buildings in there. St. Basil's Cathedral is great, and University of Heidelberg I like a lot. And honestly, everything else is meh to bad. I'll be honest, I don't like the Simpsons Wrestling Pavilion. I don't really like Tofu Bell. The main reason why I don't like Tofu Bell is it's incredibly difficult to decorate. I don't know. I'll say that Tofu Bell is meh in my opinion, but I find it a bit difficult to decorate. The Golden Ring Wrestling headquarters I hate. It's an awful TapTap exclusive. It just doesn't look right. Coot Society is kind of bland. I would say that's a meh. University of Heidelberg I do like I said. Springfield Episcopal Church is fine. A Beefy Bishop's Barbershop, the fact that was added in as a building is actually insulting to me. I'm not gonna lie, I actually hate that so goddamn much. Maybe that actually ruined the points that this update got, but holy crap, that's insulting that they added that as a building. And then St. Basil's Cathedral, I don't know, is it Basil's or Basil's? Basil's Cathedral, that one's amazing, I love that building. But like I said, the buildings for the most part are pretty bad. I mean, there's definitely two good ones there, but everything else is kind of meh or terrible. And then decorations, look at the decorations, like the wrestling dressing room, that was pretty awful. The fancy wrestling ring, the backyard wrestling ring, it's the same decoration twice, but just with a different skin, essentially. Golden Wrestler statue is, whatever, that's fine. Party limo's okay, I guess, but it's not like we haven't got limos in the past. The Burns excess pile, again, it's fine. And the championship belt, again, is fine. But, that's what I mean, a lot of these are just mediocre. And I think that's my biggest issue with this update. It's just so goddamn... everything's either mediocre or terrible. And the characters, I'm not even going to talk about the characters. You guys know what characters were added. I don't get me wrong, this update has a great structure and it does have a great theme. That is true. But when it's it's kind of like making a great, you make a great... I'm trying to think of a great analogy. You make a great baking tray, right? So you've got a little cupcake tray, and you've made it out of metal, right? Let's imagine. So you've made this cupcake tray out of metal, and you've casted it perfectly. It looks amazing. So all you have to do is simply add the ingredients and pop it in the oven. But you just buy you buy the wrong ingredients. You just buy shit, and then you put it in the oven, and it comes out looking like a pile of shit. It looks like you've just cooked shit. That's what I mean. Yeah, it has a great theme. Yeah, it has a great structure. But when everything inside of it is terrible, of course it's gonna be bad. I don't know. I think this update it's fine here. It's second last. Yeah, Simpsons Wrestling. Clash of Creeds Christmas Royale. Okay. I kind of wanted to put this one a little bit higher, I'm not going to lie, but after I did the whole points thing, this is where it landed, so I'm going with the points thing. And that seems like the best way of doing this, because otherwise I'm just going to be completely undecided. I think this is the right place for it, after thinking about it. This feels correct. Now, the structure is the big thing that I think everyone kind of is bothered about, right? Because no one's going to argue with me that Simpsons Wrestling has better characters, surely. Please don't argue with me that Simpsons Wrestling has better characters than this update. But on the same strength, Simpsons Wrestling has a much better structure and theme. That is true. However, the main reason why I still think this one hasn't got the worst structure and theme is I think, Black History was all over the place, and it was just a bunch of stuff kind of bashed together. Game of Games was sort of similar. I mean, everything kind of loosely fit in, but only very loosely. But the one thing that kind of puts this update above those two in terms of structure, theme, and questline, in my opinion, is they actually added 5 things in the prize track. And that's quite big because no other update this year did that. but they also added it with a token at the end. So for me, that's perfect, right? They have the token's still there, and there's five prizes per prize track. I'm sorry, but that just makes it better than Game of Games and Black History, because otherwise they've got the same issue, right? I think Clash of Creeds, Game of Games, and Black History all have the same issue when it comes to structure and theme. It's all loosely connected, but it's all just kind of thrown together, and there's not really much care in there, right? But Clash of Creeds is far better than Game of Games, the sequel, and Black History in terms of the actual structure of the event, in terms of the actual prize track and how it's laid out. Because there's actually 5 prizes to be won, even if you don't like some of the prizes. Hey, at least there's 5 of them, and you're not just getting a token. Like, yeah, plus you're still getting the token, so maybe even is better than Treehouse of Horror, because you're still getting that token at the end. When Treehouse of Horror, you didn't always get the token. I don't know. This is what I mean. Like, I think Clash of Creeds, structure-wise, is fine. Now, characters. Let's move on to this. Well, not fine, but kind of bad, but better than other updates. Getting on to characters. Krusty Claus, kind of bad. Moses, kind of bad. No, kind of good. Leader, kind of good. Baby Jesus, King Herod, kind of bad. Yahweh is good. Andre is good. Okay, characters, I think, for the most part, are fine. Then we have Sexy Santa March, whatever. Buildings are great. I mean, apart from the Burns cult headquarters, I like all the buildings. I think they're all cool. No complaints. And then we have decorations. Yeah, I mean, most of the decorations are cool. There's some really good ones. Movementarian ad truck is great. The Nativity Recycling, I like a lot. I like the Santa Workshop sign and the fence. It's always great to have more of the, fences and things like that. The Orthodox Ambulance is great. And the Sea Captain's Sleigh is great. And you know what? Heaven's pretty decent too. I would have preferred it if it was a building, I know, but I think it's decent. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy putting this update here. I think this is a fair spot for it. It is better than wrestling. Anyone who says it's better than wrestling is just wrong. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I can't let you get away with telling me that wrestling is better than this. Yeah, this is not great, but holy hell. Wrestling? Oh, please. Black History. Okay. Originally I had this one much lower, but you know what? The one thing that really redeems this update for me is the characters. And the main character that really redeems it is Virgil Simpson. I think Virgil Simpson is one of the better characters that we've got this year. I thought his questline was really funny, and I thought his animations are great. I think overall he's brilliant, and he's a free character. I forgot about that. He's great. Also, in this update, we've got Abraham Simpson I, pretty decent character. The Patriarch, I don't mind. I quite like him, actually. And Mabel Simpson as well is another great character. And Hibbert's father, I guess, is okay. Everyone else is a bit meh, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a fan of the Bully Boss. I'm not a fan of Opal. Clarissa Wellington is, pretty meh, too. But everyone, I mean, yeah, I like the ones that I listed just then. Buildings, this update's a bit crummy when it comes on buildings. And I think this is why it's lowered itself a little bit, but the buildings in this update aren't great. Cretaceous Park is the only free building that you get, and I think it's one of the worst buildings of the year. And then you have Moving On, which didn't really fit in with Hibbert's father. It's a future building, and we're getting it with Hibbert's father. It was really random. Hard Lad Nightclub, again, is a future building. It was really randomly thrown in there. I mean, they tried to tie it together with a quest line, but still. And that came with Stogie. Mega Church I like that building a lot, I'm not going to lie. I think that's the best building of the event. And then Canadian Border it's pretty bad too. It shouldn't be it's nowhere near as big as it should be, and also it should be a decoration. Then you obviously have the building skin as well, whatever. I don't even care about building skins, I'm not going to lie. Then you have decorations. The adult skateboards, crowd of presidents, presidential kids, sorry. Crowd of boys, bully bus, when I'm saying I mean kind of bad. Or I think adult skateboards is meh, to be honest. But I don't like the crowds, and I don't like the bully bus. And I don't like the crematorium bot, because we've got something quite similar already. But apart from that, everything's fine. But yeah, that's my opinion on those things. I mean, I think the update is, for the most part, great in terms of characters, but that's about it. And it's only really those few characters that really elevate it for me. So I think Black History I think makes sense to put it here. It's above Clash of Creeds. It's not above the other two updates. So let's get into those. The Van Houtens. This one nearly was beaten by Black History. And the reason why it was nearly beaten by Black History is because even though some of Black History's buildings are kind of crummy, I think the update that had the worst buildings of the year is the Van Houtens. Mainly because we only got 3 buildings. Now, of those 3 buildings, we obviously have the Nana Sophie Mussolini's Vineyard, which I like a lot, actually. Springfield's Little Italy, I like that one a lot too. And then the Van Houten Villa. I don't like the Van Houten Villa. I think the Van Houten Villa is way too small. It doesn't look right to me. Comparing it to other sort of buildings of similar size or similar what you would expect to be, like basically other mansions, right? Other mansions and other villas, things like that. Comparing it to those, it just doesn't look right. It looks really downsized, and I just think it's a pretty bad building. The other 2 though are great, but that's just 2 great buildings. Even Black History beats it in terms of buildings, in my opinion. So that's why this update nearly lost. But this update is great in terms of decorations, that is for sure. I think this update had the best decorations of the year. So that's actually what won it out. So let's have a look at some of those decorations. You got the Go-Go Ray, Millhouse's Balloon Academy, Millhouse's Bounce House, Millhouse's Squishy Machine, the Galetto stand, the Shoalback table, Millhouse's Chinese Dragon, Millhouse's Pool and Zip Line, Millhouse's Scooter, the Solvanger, the Discover Vancouver bus, Discover Vancouver, the Sarsaparilla tree, I can't say it, and the Grandpa Van Houten RV, and Marine One. So many decorations, they were all pretty awesome. But obviously, it was kind of at the sacrifice for its buildings, so it makes sense. In terms of characters and costumes, we obviously got Cool Millhouse and Italian Millhouse as costumes. Those ones are... I'm not a fan of Italian Millhouse, I'll be honest, but Cool Millhouse is cool. And then we have Annika, is a great character. Grandma Van Houten is a great character. Kirk Medeas Van Houten is decent. Milhouse is decent. Milford Van Houten is, again, decent. Grandpa Van Houten is a great character. Secretary Van Houten is meh, in my opinion. And Muscular Millhouse is pretty bad. But one bad character over all those great characters, it's fine. I think in terms of characters, the update that was the best was also the Van Houtens. So I think this one, for the most part, was a very, very solid update. It was narrowly beaten by what came as number 1. At first, when I was like counting all the points up, I was like, oh no, maybe the Van Houtens was the best update of the year. But I do think there is one that is just slightly better. And can we have that drum roll to reveal the winner, please? Treehouse of Horror, XXXI. That's right. So, of course, this one has to be number 1. Like I said, though, only narrowly beaten. I do think the Van Houten update had some great stuff, but alas, this one had to win. Okay, so where did this update do great on? For the first time, structure, theme, questline. That is the thing it's done great on, for sure. This one definitely had the best structure, theme, and questline of the year. By far. I think it was leagues above everything else, I'll be honest. Simpsons Wrestling also had a very solid theme, but I didn't think the questline was particularly good, and I didn't think the story was particularly good. But this one, I thought the story was pretty decent. So, yeah, that's why I kind of gave it full points for that. In terms of characters, it ranked fairly low-ish. It got the 3rd best characters. I don't think there's some characters. So let's have a look at the characters. I think the characters are fine, but they're nothing amazing. So we obviously and costumes too. So we have the Hell Teacher. I think is fine. Hell Principals, I think are fine. Old Scratch is amazing, sure. Torture Coach, kinda bad. Demon Mo, kinda bad. And the Demon Technician is good. I like the Demon Technician. And to be honest, I actually like what they did with him. And then we have costumes. I think this one is pulled back by the costumes. It's kind of saved. We obviously have Beelzebub, which is great. Lucifer, great costume. And Donut Homer, a great costume. The costumes have really kind of saved this update from getting a lower point on characters and costumes. Then we have buildings. I think this update had some goddamn solid buildings. I gave it the second best. Now, I think Game of Games, the sequel, had the best buildings of the year. I'm not going to lie. I love the buildings in Game of Games, the sequel. But in Treehouse of Horror, I think they had the second best buildings. There's a lot of really funky buildings here. Hell's Kitchen, I love. Hell's Labs is pretty decent, although, to be honest, I kind of like how they converted it to a building. Murder House is great. The Hell Stage, I'm like so leaning on this, but I love this building, even though if it didn't look so cool, I would be hating on it so much because it is an interior, and I still kind of want to take that into consideration. So I'm gonna say meh for the Hell Stage, but it does look awesome. Shh. Old Scratch's Gym is a very cool exclusive building. I don't even care that there's a Tactile exclusive. It's just so awesome. And Hell Mo's is probably the one building I'm gonna say is bad in this update, but apart from that, the buildings are very awesome. And I to be honest, I kind of take some of these buildings over quantity of the others. I don't always take quantity into consideration. Quantity only becomes an issue when there's like 2 good buildings compared to like 5 meh buildings or 6 meh buildings. So like, obviously I'm gonna have to go with the mehs. And then decorations. I think the decorations in this one were kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. However, I don't think they were the worst. The main reason why I don't think they've been kind of saved is just maybe kind of quantity. Well, let's go through it. I think the pentagram is fine. The cursed desk is kind of bad. The torture lockers are kind of bad. Demon car is fine. Hell kids, kind of bad. Stairway to Hell is too small. Demonic capture chairs are bad. Torture stand I like. Hell globe is pretty good. Hell Scientists is bad. Hell Graduation Banner is good. Torture Conveyor Belt is good. And the Flanders Personal Hell is good. So there's some good ones in there, but there is a lot of bad stuff. There's a lot of stinkers. So, yeah. But regardless, Treehouse of Horror has won. And I think the one thing that it can be kind of given the one thing that's the best thing about this update, the sort of the best factor about this update, is by far the structure, theme, and questline. So, anyway, that is my opinions. I'll just go through them again. So, number 6, the worst update was in my... Wait, what? I've lost my thing. Okay, yeah. Number 6, the worst update in my opinion was Game of Games, the sequel. Then, in number 5 was Simpsons Wrestling. Then, in number 4 was Clash of Creeds Christmas Royale. Then, number 3 was Black History. Number 2 was the Van Houtens. And the best update was, of course, Treehouse of Horror XXXI. Anyway, tell me your thoughts, like I said. Tell me your lists. Tell me why I'm wrong. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.